Hello everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am back with another project for the design team at Doodlebug. This is my second project using the brand new Butterfly Kisses. This collection is so pretty. Like it's got little cute elements, but it's just pretty and very elegant, and I don't even know. It's got to be like in my top 5 favorite collections they've ever done. So today we have an 8¼ by 8¼ Gatefold shaker cover folio, because you know I had to do it. 1¼ spine, so it may not look like a lot, but you can get a lot in here. So we've got a belly band closure, and since I like to put one of their big stickers on the back of my projects, I matted it on some of my cardstock scraps and attached it to the belly band itself so it wasn't like getting in the way. On the back here, I've got one of the butterfly prints, and of course on the front we've got a shaker windows on both covers using the and I've apparently misplaced my shaker fill because I am not seeing it over here. Oh, there it is. There it is. The Butterfly Kisses, because I couldn't remember the name, and lo and behold, Butterfly Kisses, Butterfly Kisses shaker fill. And on the front, I've added some of the odds and ends. I've used the border strips. I used all but like 2 of the border strips somewhere in this project. So the border strips in this collection are that cute. So you open this up, and I've got my mirrored butterflies on the back here. First up, we've got a 4x6 photo mat, which of course is open behind here so that you can get a picture in there. This opens up. It does have a magnetic closure, and then it's got a nice big pocket. I've got my super cute 4x6 cut apart and my big tags in here, 3 of the big tags in here. I've used it. Jeez, I'm telling you, I'm losing it. The scalloped border stripper stick. I'm telling you, it's over with. The scalloped border stickers here and here. And see, border strips. There we go. That's where this is coming from. Okay, we open this up. We've got a nice big 5x7 picture here. This is kind of lifting up on me, but that's because it's loose so that you can get a picture underneath there. Same thing on both sides, and then back up underneath our odds and ends piece there. Down here, we've used another piece of that adorable butterfly acetate, because that was the other thing. On the back side of the front side is the clear acetate. The back side is the cute butterfly acetate that was released with this collection. I've used another strip of it here for a belly band, and then just to keep things from falling through, because I put it on the front here, it would actually be better on the back side, but either way works. I've just used some of the chit chat pieces here to just keep things from falling out. The bottom of the belly band, with it still being technically a belly band and not a pocket, but you can move the elements around if you so choose. Okay, on the back side here, we've got a nice big flap with, again, one of the stickers from this and that sticker sheet mounted on a 3.5-inch circle that I cut with a die. Open it up. We've got another one of our stickers over here that's glued on 2 sides to make kind of a small pocket. In here, we've got a 3.5 by 5 photo spot, and again, loose so you can tuck something underneath that. We've got the frog border. We've got cute polka dot scalloped sticker there. And then these both just open up, and you've got nice photo spots there as well. Okay. When you get to the next layer in, you've got 2 large skinny belly bands, and I've got the journaling cut apart on just a little booklet here. I did not mat the insides of these booklets, I didn't want them to get too bulky here. And these just slide in under here. And again, I've just got more elements from the odds and ends. this opens up like so. These flaps are attached here, and you'll see I did not mat my gussets on any of my pages here, my flaps, because I really kind of liked how that broke everything up. So I did leave those unmatted, but you would have enough scraps and things from the 12 by 12 collection kit to mat all of those gussets if you so chose to. So again, we've got odds and ends pieces, stickers from the this and that sticker sheet. I left these two as is because they were just really pretty with all those butterflies and the flowers. On the back side, again, I've got a couple more of the odds and ends pieces. Here we have a 3x4 waterfall, and on the bottom I use that super cute 3x5 door cut apart piece and put it on a little tiny flap that opens out to the side there. Okay. Backside, we've got another journaling spot, and then we've used another piece of that butterfly acetate here for our nice deep pocket that if you wanted to make a small folio to stick in here as well, you could do that. You could put a huge stack of pictures in here, whatever you would like to do with that. So I've got some more of my tags and all of my other cut aparts that I didn't end up using. But I did the entire thing with one 12 by 12 collection kit in one pack of odds and ends. So I will have a kit for this available in my shop. I am now releasing kits of my Doodlebug projects along with other projects that I'm working on. So yeah, so if you want to recreate exactly how we've done this here, you can do that with the kit. The kits are going to include all of your cardstock, chipboard, pattern paper, the odds and ends, any ribbons, which I didn't use any ribbon in this one. I actually didn't use any magnets in this one either, surprisingly. But if it is an element that I've used in here, it will be included. The only thing I am not including is the big score tape sheets, because you may want to glue your cover pieces together and not use score tape. And then of course glue, and then just your basic tools. But all of the other elements and pieces and parts needed to construct this project are included in the kit, and that will be linked in the description box below. But yeah, thank you for watching, and let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so we are going to start with our frame cover pieces before we build any other pieces of the book. So I have two pieces of chipboard that are 8 1/4 by 4 1/8. So together they're 8 1/4 wide. Okay. All right. Process is going to be the same on both of these. I am going to take a ruler, and this is literally why I have the little T-square ruler like this. It's because I want to take this and I want to mark 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then I can line this up and continue my line across. And this one literally was like $5, I think, on Amazon. Might not even been Amazon. It might have been Walmart for all I know. Okay, so then we got that. Now we're going to do the same thing, go in the other direction. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Okay. And then line it up again. And honestly, I couldn't figure out what had happened to this ruler until the other day. I was going through my drawer looking for something else, and it's like, oh my god, there it is. I'd been looking for it, I kid you not, for like 6 months. And it was underneath something at the back of the drawer. So we're going to do the same thing on both of these. So again, half, half.
Do I need to do the marks on both ends? Probably not, but just to make sure that I didn't read the ruler wrong when I'm making the mark, that's why I'm going to go ahead and do it on both ends like that. Even though as soon as I line this up, I can tell it's fine. Okay. And so, all right. So those are lined up. Now, what I'm going to do is take my paper trimmer. The one that works best for this, in my opinion, is the Fiskars because it's got that little guide wire on there. Okay, so you can really see for sure where you are lining up your blade. Now, if you have never done this with me before, I have an older blade that I mark with a Sharpie so I know for sure that I am not getting in here and doing this with a brand new blade that is then going to get absolutely destroyed. Okay. Our goal with this right now is not to cut through the chipboard, it's just to mark the chipboard. Okay. Essentially do like a deep score on the chipboard where we will eventually be cutting through. Okay. If you have mixed media dies that are the right size, do that. I do not. I toyed with creating a very simple SVG file for this and then cutting these with the Cricut. And again, I could, but one of those, every time I do Cricut stuff, it seems like I have people that, you know, don't have electronic cutting machines or whatever, so Cricut Silhouette, whatever. So that's why I'm showing you how to do this manually. Okay, so now we've got that line scored into our chipboard. So now I will take my ruler, I will line it up on that line that we have scored down into our chipboard, and then I can drag right along the edge of that ruler and cut through that chipboard. Okay, so if I turn it over to the back side, you can see we are now cut all the way through. In fact, depending on how deeply your blade on the trimmer cut, a lot of times once you get this started, you don't even need the ruler there because you've got that groove that you're dragging it down through. Especially if you've got a brand new blade in your craft knife, which I do. I really ought to track how often I change this one because I feel like I change it all the time. But I do love this, whoops, this knife. Is the Cricut True Control. Just watch at Michael's because when they do either buy one get one free or buy one get one half off on Cricut accessories, assuming they have the replacement blades. Last time I actually had to find them on Amazon because nobody had them. And I still swear there's like 2 brand new packages of them floating around in this room somewhere, and I put them somewhere that made sense at the time, and I don't remember where that was. Okay, so you can save this if you want to. You can throw it away if you want to. It's entirely up to you, but there's our first frame. We're going to do the exact same thing on this one. And you can cut them all the way through with the trimmer. Sometimes I do that. But honestly, I feel like I've gotten better results doing it the way I'm showing you right here. all the way through that corner up there. Okay, I think we're good there. We're good here, maybe. There we go. And there we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to take both of these. I'm going to take my 3/8. Pretty sure this is 3/8. Yes, normally I write like on the inside of my rolls for the 3/8 and the 1/2 inch, just because they are close enough. It can be hard to tell which one's which sometimes. Where's my bone folder? So I usually do right in there, but apparently I don't write on this one. Okay, so I'm going to go around my outside edge like so. Okay. Okay, so those are prepped. To wrap these, we're not doing the normal, so these are 4 1/8. Normally you would go 6 1/8 and then 10 1/4. So 2 inches and 2 inches. We are doing the 10 1/4. That is still the same. We, however, because of the frame, we don't need to go, because we're going to have extra, we're going to have to cut off if we go that full width. So these are 10 1/4 by 5 1/4. And scoreboard, put away the trimmer with the bad blade so that I don't accidentally try and use it somewhere, because I totally did end up doing that. And I'm going to grab my 1 inch spacer. I'm going to grab both of them. I only need one of them right now. So I'm going to put this in, line it up here, and then I'm going to get my backing off of my tape. Okay, and I am going to just eyeball the center right to left. I should have about 1/2 inch on each side. If it's not exact, it's fine, as long as you've got enough to come up and over. And really, it should have been shorter on the height as well, but we can actually trim that down. So really, we don't want it any... Oh, what do I need it to be? I need it to be 9 1/4, not 10 1/4. So I'm going to take an inch off of this. So 9 1/4 by 5 1/4. Let me update my directions where I've got it written down. Okay, so fix that one. This one, I'm just going to come in here and take 1/2 inch off of the top and the bottom and call it good, and that will be fine. Okay, so now we can do our other piece. And again, I'm going to put my 1 inch at the top. And then go ahead and get the backing off. Oh, because then I don't want... Okay, it's definitely Monday. We're going to eyeball it. I have 1/2 inch spacers over here somewhere. I really don't want to dig them out, because with the rare exception like this, I have not found them to be super useful. So I don't really, like, I have them, but I don't really use them for much. Okay, so now here's where we are. All right, so we are going to go ahead and wrap these just like we normally would for our cover pieces. Okay. Okay, so I've got that folded around, and then I am just going to miter like we always do. And these are absolutely going to be a little bit trickier to wrap just because, you know, cutting the center out of this, you know, it, I don't want to say weakens, but there's a lot more give to the chipboard, okay? So what I'm going to do is take my 1/4 inch. I'm going to go around the outside. In this case, this might be one where maybe for you, glue is going to be easier to just do straight glue. I'm still going to use both on this. It will be fine. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do my longer sides first. So press up, over and down. And again, along the chipboard, up, over and down. Up, over and down. Up, over, whoops, not like that. Over and down. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Okay, all right, so I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Okay. Right, and tape again. I have actually done, this is about what ends up happening when you do an 11 by 11 album with this method, that you end up with just that little 1/2 inch to wrap around, and it works. It is not impossible. Okay, so again, let's get the backing. And go ahead and wrap. And that had to get on there a little bit crooked, so this is kind of hanging over, but I think it'll be okay by the time we cut out our middle section here and wrap it back the other way. I think it'll be okay. go. Okay, so now I'm going to take my knife again. I'm going to kind of, as close as I can, line up my ruler across the center. You're going to go from the inside of the chipboard and cut corner to corner, okay? Like that. Come in on the other side. Okay, so what you're going to do now is just, it doesn't have to be exact. I am just going to eyeball about 1/2 inch. Okay. Why is that so weirdly satisfying? I don't know. I don't get it. Okay. Then we are going to do the exact same thing. We're going to fold this up and over, just like we did. Except that corner didn't cut all the way back in there, because this was where it's weird. I wonder why it did that. Weird. Okay. Well, that's fine. Okay. And again, actually this time I am going to just do glue. Okay. Like so. Come down here, do the same thing. Double check that. So like I said, this one kind of ended up not quite lined up right. Okay, there we go. That'll work. Okay. Okay. Short ones went right down. This longer one is like, I don't want to. And really, where this one's not going to be super thick, there's going to be acetate on both sides. Really, if you wanted to just cut these off, you could absolutely do that as well. But I do like having that kind of cleaner wrap on the inside there. But you could just totally like cut out that center section and be fine. Okay. And this one, this one's really fighting with me, which I did get it on the short side where it's not really wanting to wrap around as well, but it'll be fine. Okay. So again, I'm just gonna same thing on this one. This time I'm just gonna eyeball corner to corner, since it really doesn't have to be like exact, since you're gonna cut a huge section of this out. Other than I just totally did not even get to the corner on this one. It's fine. Okay. So I'm going to try and leave these a little bit wider this time. And we'll see if I have to cut them down some more or if they're going to be okay. Okay. So let's see. Oh, that one's good. That one I need to take a little bit off of. Okay. A little bit off of this one too. There we go. Okay. So we can go ahead and do these as well. And like I said, if this is not exactly perfect, it's fine. It's not ultimately going to be a big deal because, you know, you're going to mat over the top of it. All of that kind of thing. And the longer ones will be the more difficult ones when you're going back around it this way. But all of this does help too to reinforce your frame. So it's okay. In the long run, it will be fine. Yeah, those end ones that are smaller just go like right over. This one corner for me does not want to play nice. There we go. That finally kind of laid down. Okay, so now we've got both of these. I was trying to think. I kind of want to get the matting ready for both of these while we've got them in this state where we can trace exactly where we want the matting to go up to. So let's go ahead and do that. I think I want, that was that one though, God. It does. Okay. I was thinking I was going to use this one, but we have cut aparts on the back. So let me think for a second how I want to do this. And I think that one is too big. It's going to get lost. We could do the greenery. Or we do it the cheater way. Okay. What I mean by that is, and let me find like a scrap of something here that we can use. When I say the cheater way, and it's not really the cheater way, it's just a simpler way to do this. You will do it with strips. So rather than, you know, cutting a piece and then cutting the frame out, you cut your strips like so. Okay. And then this is literally the back side of the cover from the 6x8 pad. So rather than trying to, you know, cut a 4x8 piece and then cut the center out and get it all lined up and perfect and everything, you do little strips instead, and then it just goes together. So I think that's what we're going to do. Rather than try to mess with picking out which paper, and then too, you can do that piece of it with scraps, which always makes it 100 times easier. So these two for now are ready to go. I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and I'm going to grab our back cover. So our cardstock to wrap the back cover is 10 1/4 by 10 1/4. The chipboard is 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. Cover the back with tape. You can glue it if you would like. It's up to you. Okay. So for this, I do want my spacers. Okay. So that one's good. Our spine pieces are 1 1/4 by 8 1/4. Hopefully I cut these 8. Yeah, I did. These, however, we are also going to do some different matting on. Okay. So I have a piece that is not it. Those are my inside pieces. Okay. It is 3 1/4 by 10 1/4. So I still want my 1 inch at the top. I want my 1.5 inches on one side, and the other side's going to be short. Okay. The reason for this is when we attach it to these, we don't want to have that hanging over our frame. Okay. So these are, did I write these down? I don't know if I did or not. 10 1/4 by, I literally just said that, didn't I? 10 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay. You'll need 2 of those. Your chipboard is 10 1/4 by 8 1/4, or 8 1/4 by 1 1/4. I have a lot of quarters this time. I don't know why, because this is just how it goes sometimes. Okay. So that goes down like so. And we'll do the same thing with the second one. Like so. this out of the way. Okay, so for both of your spine pieces, we are going to wrap, fold the chipboard around, or fold the cardstock around our chipboard, just like we always do, and burnish. Again, just like normal. Okay, we are going to miter just like we always do. So I'm going to miter that there. Miter that one there. On the opposite side. Like so. Like so. All right, so I'm going to come in here with my tape. All right, so up and over on the ends only. Okay, I'm going to turn this back over and burnish along the edge here. Okay, on both pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my tape over here. And I'm going to go ahead and do my tape on this one. And on this, the short side, the tape is probably all we're going to use. I probably won't add any glue on that side just because I don't want it seeping out. And there's still our reinforcement piece that's going to go across to reinforce it from this side, so it will be fine. Okay, set those aside. Let's grab our cover, and we're going to do the same thing. We are going to wrap our cardstock around our chipboard, just like normal. Okay, and miter our corners. ahead and wrap this one as well. And we'll assemble this. Okay, so I'm going to come along the edge of my chipboard, up in the middle, push up against the chipboard, fold over, burnish it down. Go to the opposite side, do the same thing again, over and down. Next, up, over and down. Okay. All right, so first thing we're going to attach is going to be our frames. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to burnish one more time to make sure I've got this nice and hold up over that edge, nice and formed around that edge. Go ahead and pull my backing off, and I think I am going to run just a tiny line of glue right next to that score tape. Okay, I'm going to start out with it on top of my spine, pull it over till I feel it drop down, and then burnish it down. Okay, and so there, that's with it being that short, it goes right exactly to where we want it to go. Okay, so let's do that one more time. I'm going to burnish this down, fold it over, burnish it again. Okay, and little line, because we don't want it seeping up out on this side. Okay, so you'll feel when it slides off, and then you can put it down. Okay, come burnish it from this side, and there we go. Now we just need to put our back cover on. Same basic process. Just more glue. Burnish that down. Turn it over, burnish it again. We'll go to our other side. I haven't done a gatefold in quite a while, so I was kind of excited. Okay, so again, drop it down and burnish it down. Okay. So I'm going to turn this over. Our pieces to cover on this inside are 4 by 8 and 8 and 1/8. They are just barely going to come over on this side. And when we go to put them down, we are going to line them up with the edge of that frame. Okay. Same thing over here, just to help further reinforce that. But I do need to put tape on the back of these because I did not get these prepped. So to do that, and the reason I use tape is so it lays nice and flat. And I don't know that I have done this on camera because I was never allowed to use my tape rolls on camera. And now I can. Okay. All right. Just like that. And if I did that too fast, we're going to do a second one so you can see me do it again. Okay. Okay. So I just pull it out, I line it up on that upper corner and just watch as I go down the side and then drop it down. And if you get it on there crooked, it's fine. Cut the tape off on the end wherever it's hanging off and then fill it in wherever it didn't cover. Not a big deal. You don't need a new piece of paper. You don't need, it's easily fixed. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn this so it's facing me so I can really see clearly where my edge is and where I want to line up the edge of this piece. Okay. One thing you want to watch, because even though my tape was 4 inches wide, my cardstock was 4 inches wide, I've got just a hair hanging off the one side. So just kind of rub your finger along and fold that back over onto itself, because you don't want that hanging over because it's going to attract, dust and whatnot. Okay, so I am going right to the edge of my frame and then drop it down. Okay, the opposite side, do the same thing again. This one was more exact because this one my tape's fine. Okay. Again, and drop it down. So now I'm going to burnish in my crease where my hinge and my cover meet. Okay. And then I'm going to carefully do it on this side as well, because it's going to be a little bit trickier on this side because you've only got that little 1/2 inch that's keeping everything connected. And then pinch. The pinching, honestly, is something I've found that helps me make sure everything is lined up, good to go. Just settles everything in place. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. If that makes you nervous, you have, arthritic hands, which I do, but I refuse to give up on this because they're not that bad yet. I'm sure they will be. Okay, and that just kind of pops everything into place. So there is our Gatefold album. Awesome. Okay, let me grab my acetate for the back. So for the inside piece here, so when you open the album, you're going to have the butterfly acetate. Okay. So both of these I'm going to cut 2 pieces off of this that are 4 inches wide. And I want to go 8 1/8 high. So I'm going to cut my 8 1/8 first. Okay, like so. And then I'll cut my bridge. And I am doing this over here on the big dolly trimmer because it cuts it very, very cleanly. Although you can cut it with a regular paper trimmer. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to find the normal kind of acetate. Not the cute printed Doodlebug stuff. Just normal plain old acetate, which we're going to use a bit of this. And I'm going to do the same thing, so 8 1/8, and then 4 and 4. Okay, so those are ready. I'm going to set those aside because we're going to do our inside ones first. Okay. I am going to dry fit this to make sure it lines up where I want it to. Everything looks good. In fact, I probably could have gone a little bit narrower than 4 inches on this inside one, but it's fine. Okay. And you'll notice, okay, vibrant butterflies, not so vibrant. We want this side facing out. So we want the vibrant ones facing forward. Okay. So I need my 1/4 inch score tape. I'm going to take my little acetate and I'm going to run around the outside edge with the score tape. You could glue these. Acetate does glue. You can use art glitter glue on acetate to glue it to cardstock. However, I want this stuck and like stuck. Like I don't have to worry that I'm going to bump it or it's going to shift and I'm not going to catch it till later. I want it like to stick down the second I put it on. Okay. So I'm going to prep both pieces. Okay. And then pick a side and put it down. However, because this is directional, pay attention. So whichever direction you put it this way, you got to put it the same direction the other one so that they're not going opposite directions. Ask me how I know. Yeah, because I've literally done that with patterned acetate before. Or I've put it on upside down so like the vibrant side's facing the wrong way. I've done that a few times too. Because that's always a fun one. Okay. All right, so I'm going to line this up, center it, and burnish it down. Okay, turn my opposite end, make sure my butterflies are both going the same way. Get my backing off, and I'll drop this one in too. Okay. All right, so that's what we're seeing from the outside. So now I'm going to put this face down. I'm going to prep my other 2 pieces. So same thing again, score tape. Of course, because these are totally clear, it's much harder to see where my edge is. And I'm sure on camera you guys can't tell at all, and I apologize. I have yet to come up with a good way to film working with acetate where you can actually see what I'm doing. And I have tested many different ways of doing it, and none of them seem to work short of like pulling my light all the way over so it reflects directly off of them, but even then it's like it's not the best. Okay. Second one. As long as I can see what I'm doing with it, that's probably, you know, when you're doing it yourself, you'll be able to see what you're doing with it. Right. Okay. All right. So those are both prepped. I'm going to move them to the side for a minute because what I want now is my Butterfly Kisses shaker. So I am using the butterflies. These are thin enough that we can put these in with only that single, just the depth of the chipboard itself. When you're putting this in, just try and make sure that they are not on top of each other. So kind of be mindful when you're sprinkling them in that they aren't on top of each other. Okay. And I'm not sure how many I want, so I'm just going to do it till it feels right. That feels right. Oh my gosh. In case you're wondering, it's Monday. My other project took way longer than I thought it was going to because I had lost footage and it was just a whole thing. Okay, so once you've got those down, you're going to go ahead and put your acetate over the top. And since this one's clear, it doesn't matter which side it's going on. You don't have to watch direction, any of that. So, get that off. Like so. And drop it down. And there you go. Have your nice flat butterfly shaker. Okay, so same thing on this other side. I think I did about like that. And then spread them out so they are nice and flat, not overlapping each other. And there are like some tiny ones in here. I'm not sure if that was the intention. I feel like I have more butterflies on this other side. So we're going to do just a few more. There we go. That looks good. Oh, I love this shaker mix. This has got to be my favorite one they've done yet. It's so pretty. Okay. So then again, we're just going to get our backing off of our tape and drop this one down, and our cover is done. Okay. Okay. There you go. There's your cover. Okay. I will get our inside elements ready and I'll be back.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do our other page elements. So for the flaps that are going on the back of this, I have two pieces that are 6 by 6. On both of these, you're going to score them at 1/2 inch. We're going to round our corners. And miter. Okay. I am going to fold and burnish. And we're going to go ahead and glue these on. So I'm going to glue one on. Yeah, I do want them going sideways. Sorry, I had to think for a second there. I'm just going to center this on here. It's going all the way to that outside edge. Okay, this one, before I actually glue it, oh no, we should be fine. Never mind, that's why I sized them the way I did. I was trying to make sure that they weren't running into each other, but I forgot I did actually size them so that they don't run into each other. I'm just going to use my 1 that's over the top to make sure everything is lined up where it needs to be. Okay, I'm going to set that one aside. Let's grab our two that open out to the side. All right, so on the front, okay, we're going to do just a very small belly band. These are 9 by 1. So I'm going to score each of these at 1/2 inch on the ends. So 1/2 and 8.5. Okay. And I know they're small, but we're still going to go ahead and just do a little miter on each end. Okay. All right, so then I can fold and burnish. And then just center it. And go ahead and glue that on. And same thing on the second one. Okay. And then on the back side, so technically that way, I have 2 more flaps. These are 5. Okay, they're different. That's why. One of these is 5 by 6 with the 6 inch at the top. You're going to score this at 1/2 inch. The other is 5 by 5 7/8. And that one was wrong. That is not 1/2 inch. That one's 5/8. That's why. There's a reason. There was a reason they're different size. So 5/8. The one that is 5 and 5 or 5 7/8 is going to be scored at 1/2 inch. So 5/8, 1/2. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and miter both of these. Okay. Doesn't matter which side, which one goes on which side. I'm going to do my one that has the wider tab, and this is going onto this little spine piece right here. Okay. It's going on here like so that it is even with the bottom of that tab. Okay. So I'm going to make sure it's up against that tab, which I don't know why I just mitered those. Those really didn't need to be mitered, but it's okay. All right. So then it's going to be 1/8 inch shorter. So this will be on one side. The other one, we're going to do it to the top. So just to make it easier on myself, I'm going to turn it going the opposite direction. So the edge I'm trying to get it up to is facing me. And same thing again. It's going to go up against that all the way up to the top. Okay. So then when these are in the book, they're going to sit open and these will actually open with those flaps, but they'll still move independently as well. Okay. Nothing's going on the back of this one. Next up, we have a box pocket. So this is 6 by 10 1/4. With the 10 1/4 at the top, you're going to score it 1/2 inch and 3/4. Turn it a 1/4 turn, 1/2 inch again. Oops. This is why I do it sideways. And 3/4. Turn it again, and then 1/2 inch and 3/4. Okay. So this one, you're going to miter and miter. And then down here on this bottom corner, you're going to have 2 lines that cross. We are going to go through the middle right here. Okay. Like so. On both corners. And then I'm going to cut along this score line to get this little tiny triangle shaped tab. Okay. All right. This one we're not going to put in yet. We're going to put all of our other flaps on first. So I'm going to turn this upside down and put our largest flap in first. Okay. And just center that one up. Okay. I'm going to turn it to the side, and I'm going to do one of my side flaps. Okay. So this, again, it's slightly shorter than the overall height of the book, but the big thing is you want to make sure it's not too far towards your spine because you don't want it interfering. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Okay. Make sure those are lined up. Okay. All right. So you can see how those overlap. Pull that back out of the way, and we'll put our bottom flap on. And again, we're just centering like so. All right, so these are going to close like so. This one will come up, this one will come down, and then it closes all in like so. Okay. Now, this guy, I'm going to fold and burnish all of my score lines here. Okay. Once I've done that, I am going to take my leftover piece of acetate. This should be 4 by 8. I'm going to lay it on the inside of this pocket. Now, you can do this one of two ways. You can center this and do it as a window like we did here. You can do it up at the top where you're just going to cut like a, what would that even be? I don't know what you would call that. Basically where you're going to cut the frame so that your acetate sits at the top. So when this is in the book, it sits about like this. And this bottom piece, you could put one of the border strips or something on. So I think that's how I'm going to do this one rather than do it as a frame. So what I'm going to do, so this should be 8 1/4, which it is not. What did I do here? Hold on. It's not. It's 1/2 inch too big. I measured wrong. Okay, so what did I tell you guys? 10 1/4? It is not 10 1/4. Oh, I'm glad I figured this out before we actually like adhered anything in, or tried to. So it's 1/2 inch too big. Aha. So it should not have been 10 1/4. It should have been 9 3/4. So let me fix my, so 9 3/4 by 6. So let me, I need to cut 1/2 inch off of this. There we go. Cut the 1/2 inch off. And then I will rescore over here at 1/2 inch and 3/4. And then let's see if I completely screwed this back up again. Nope, we should be good. Okay. All right, so let me redo my miter on this bottom corner. Okay, there we go. See, I knew that seemed like it had way too much space. All right, so what I'm going to do, so this one, okay, seriously, is this still wrong? Okay, so, all right, somehow I came out a 1/16 of an inch short, and you know what? It's fine. What I'm going to do is measure from my second score line. So where this is going to fold up, I am going to measure down 3/8 of an inch. And from the opposite one, I'm going to go over 3/8 of an inch. And then this is 4 inches wide. So I'm going to come in here. Let's go 3 3/4. No. 3 5/8. Just to ensure that I have enough space to adhere my acetate. Okay. Okay. And then across here. Okay. All right, so this is the piece I'm going to cut out. Okay, so let me grab my trimmer, maybe. Okay, there we go. Actually, I didn't mean to throw that away. You might be able to use that for matting or decorating or, photo mats, whatever. Okay, so you can put this on either side. It is going to be side loading. So depending on which side you decide to put it on, that is how you will want to make sure your butterflies are oriented. So I am going to take 1/4 inch score tape as soon as I find the end of said score tape. And I'm going to go ahead and just go around my opening. Okay, so mine's going in that way. And make sure you put your butterflies with the pretty side facing up. Okay. I am having a terrible time lining this up. Okay, there we go. All right, so because this is what I've always called a box pocket, okay, because it's got that 1/4 inch gusset. If you want, and you have lightweight chipboard or you have cereal boxes or something, and you wanted to cut a little strip to reinforce there, you absolutely can do that. Thought I had some floating around here, but maybe not. Or if you are really good and you can cut little tiny strips of your normal chipboard scraps to put in there and reinforce that, you can do that as well. I'm going to leave mine as is. I'm going to glue down one end first, and that is in part to make sure that wherever it ends up landing is really where I need it to be so that I can adjust it to the side. Normally I would start with the bottom of it, but I want to make sure I've got it lined up in the right spot. Okay, fold this over. And honestly, it's probably good that this was just slightly under where I wanted it size-wise, because then I'm sure it's not going to interfere with my flaps. So I would actually suggest cutting that 1/8 of an inch smaller. Okay. All right, so we're good there. I'm going to put my bone folder in there so I can press down on it without squashing my pocket to help burnish everything down. You can also do it with your ruler, what have you, it will be fine. Okay. All right, so that is good to go. We have one more flap element that's going to kind of come over the top of this. But let me get that one together and I'll be right back. But so far, so good. Okay, so our last element is going to be a flap. This is 8 inches by 3 7/8. So we're going to score this at 1/2 and 3/4 on the 3 7/8 inch sides. That's going to overlap our pocket. I'm going to round my corners. I realized I didn't round these, so I did fix that just now off camera. And then we're going to do a small waterfall. So I've got 5 pieces that are 3 1/8 by 4 5/8. And we're going to score each of these at 1/2 inch on the 4 5/8 side. Just moving through the rest of our pile of scraps. Okay. All right. And since it's a waterfall, we are not going to miter those. However, I am going to corner round. Oof. That is the one nice thing about using the big one is it does let you do more than one layer at a time. Okay, I am not going to put these on yet because we will mat this because we're going to center these on here when we go to put them on. Go ahead and miter this and miter this and fold and burnish. And I'm not going to put this in the book yet either, just yet, because it's going to be harder to put these on when it's in. But this will just go right there, like so. So it will just barely overlap. It's going to have the weight of the waterfall on the top of it to hold it closed, so you don't need to do any other kind of closure right there. So, all right, so let me get everything folded back in for a minute. And then for the front closure, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can add ribbon. Ribbon would actually be really pretty, but then it's going to cover up part of our shaker element here. So my thought was I'm going to take either one of the 4x4 cut aparts. I could take, what I really thought was I would take this little welcome, the little door, and mount it on a piece of the craft cardstock with magnets in between, and then some small magnets on here to act as the closure. I'm still kind of tossing that idea around. You could also do that same thing with one of these, but again, you know, if we cut one of these up and mount it on here, it's going to cover up a decent part of our little shaker window here. So, kind of unsure which way I want to go with that, so I'm going to leave that for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get my matting ready to go for everything on the inside here, and I'll be back. Okay, so we are down to the final few elements. I have this almost completely matted. I've still got a couple of spots that need to be done, but let's do our flap and our waterfall for over here. Let me move that out of the way. So I've got my waterfall pieces matted, ready to go. I've got the flap that I need to put the matting on the back of. But before I do that, I've got this little 3x5 cut apart that I'm going to go ahead and, well, not yet. Okay, we're going to do kind of a different element on the bottom half of this. Okay, so I have a piece of cardstock that is 6 1/4 by 5. With the 6 1/4 at the top, I'm going to score this at 3 1/8. And what I'm going to do is this needs a hair trimmed off of it. Hold on one second. Okay. And let's just throw the scissors while we're at it. Okay, so I want this on a flap, but it's going to be underneath the waterfall. Okay, so what I'm going to do is round the corners on this. Okay, this is going to go down on the bottom. So what I'm going to do, I'm trying to think how best to explain how I want to do this. We're basically going to, well, maybe not. Just trying to figure out how far down, because I had wanted to center this. Kind of center this. Okay, this will actually work. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take whichever one is going to be your last flap on your waterfall. I'm going to put that little tab over the top of this booklet, okay, like so, and I'm going to glue this onto the back, okay. So now this one opens up and this opens up, okay. Excuse me. This we are going to line up down on this bottom corner, okay. So now I'm going to glue all over the back of this, or not, because of course not. I cannot catch a break with this glue today. Still, I even cleaned it out, and it still just wants to fight. Okay, all right, so we're going to go ahead and do our glue on the back. And it's going to just line up. It's going to run all the way across the front, clear down to the bottom. Okay. Now I can take my next waterfall piece, which is going to go here. Open up the back. And instead of, I'm going to straighten out that flap and put it right down against the piece above it. Okay. And then fold it down. And same thing again. We're going to unfold that. We're going to get our glue on there. Turn it over. Line it up. And press it down. Be careful it doesn't slide when you press it down if you press really hard like I just did. Okay. And our next one. Okay. So this one, we're going to have a little gap or have a little spot up here at the top, and I'll end up using one of the border strips on that. I've used most, well, not most. I've used probably 2/3 of the border strips at this point, because they're so cute and so fun. Okay. And there we go. So there's that. That will fold back. We'll go ahead and put this one down here on the bottom. Because that way we've still got the little door and you can open the little door and journal or do photo mats or whatever in there. Okay, let me go ahead and get my matting on the back of this. So again, I've got another one of the journaling cut aparts. That I've trimmed down. Width-wise, it's fine. Height-wise, I had to take 1/8 of an inch off, so I just took a sliver off top and bottom. Okay, so now this one, this is not glued in yet. We can go ahead and glue this in, and then I can put my matting down over that tab. Okay, and we'll just kind of center it, make sure we're close to the piece ahead of it, or next to it, I guess, ahead of it. I don't know where that came from. Okay, so then this will open up. This piece will get glued down in here like so. And then we've got that cute little waterfall. I'll add the border strip there in a minute. The next little element I wanted to add is on the back side here. So I've got 2 pieces that are 8 1/4 by 4 1/8. We are going to score them at 4 1/8. So we're going to have 4 1/8 by 4 1/8 booklets. And those are just going to go down on the back here. Okay, so once I get this matted, these will go on there, and then you've got your 4 by 4. No, that's not the right page. 4 by 4 cut apart, so we're going to use 2 of those on those. And again, that will give us, you know, more photo spots, that sort of thing. So I'm going to set those to a side because that's easy enough to figure out. Next up are inserts for our long skinny belly band. So this is 6 by 7 7/8. We are going to score this at 3 inches. Need 2 of these. And again, for the fronts of these, I am going to use my other 2 journaling cut aparts, but I will come back and put those on later because right now, I just want to show you. So these will slide in here like so. So I'm just going to tuck those in here for now. If it's tight, take a little bit more off the height, but they should be okay. All right, we don't have anything else special going on down here. On this outside. So what I have done for my outside, and then you're going to do something similar with whichever paper you choose on the inside. But I've got 3/8 by 8 1/8 inch strips here. So this is the back side of this butterfly pattern. Okay, so I've got those. I've got the smallest of the border strips, and I'm going to do those across the top. And then since both of these ended in this lighter pink, I took one of my other scraps from this page. Try to find it. So this little bit here, and I cut that off of that to do across the bottom. Okay. So what I'm going to do is turn these over. I'm going to get, we're going to look at our 3/8 inch score tape, assuming I can find it, and make sure it's not actually that our pieces are that same width. Honestly, no, never mind. We're going to do it with 1/4 inch. That way I don't have to worry about any of my tape hanging over the edge. I'm just going to center this on here. And then if I want to, I can add a little bit of glue to help adhere these down. But for now, we're just going to do it like this. You could actually glue them. You can use art glitter glue on top of acetate and it will stick. You just have to be careful and give it a few minutes to dry because it will take longer than normal for that to dry. Okay, do the same thing on here. I have so much glue on my fingers that every time the tape sticks to it, just trying to pull that off and stick the glue off of my fingers onto the tape. And I don't want that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my long strips first. And this doesn't even have to be like we don't have to get like super fancy with this. I'm not going to try and do angled cuts. I'm not going to try and do anything out of the ordinary on my corners. I am just literally going to stick these down. And because I cut them all off of the same piece, my stripes, all I'm going to do is make sure that they are going in the same order all the way across. Which actually also matches on my side. Hopefully it matches on the other side too. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Dang it. Oh well, it's okay. It's okay. I thought I had them going the same way when I put both of those on, but apparently one of them got turned around. And that's okay. Okay, so there's that one. Let's get the other one down. Okay. All right. So those are good. And I'm just laying this on here to help hold it closed while I do this. Okay, so I'm gonna get my little bottom pieces, and these are just gonna go straight across like so. If you ended up spaced out a little further than you meant to, so which is kind of what I did right there, you can cut these a little bit longer than I cut mine to ensure you can like leave them long and then trim them as you put them down. Honestly, we'll end up adding some other butterflies and things to the front of this that I'm not real worried about it. Okay, so this needs to go like so, so it continues straight across. There we go. And there we go. All right. So that's how you mat around that. The very simple kind of cheater method. I'm going to do the same thing on the inside here, just with different paper. The only thing we have left is our closure. So we are going to do a belly band. So you should still have some of the plain acetate left. Okay, so you should have some of the plain acetate left. So you're going to cut a strip of that is 1 3/4 high by 11.5 inches long. We are going to score that at 1 5/8, and then again at 9 7/8. Okay. So that will cover across the front. You're going to take a piece of the cardstock that is also 1 3/4, And we're going to cut this down to 9 and 1/4. Okay. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 8 3/4. And assuming all of my math is correct, this should come straight across our back. This will drop down over the front, and then we just have to attach them together. Okay. So it looks like we're good. I'm going to come on to my tabs on the cardstock. Add score tape. I am going to set this on top of okay. Since I know this side's good, this one I'm going to go directly down, which apparently my stuff is not 1 3/4. So I've got a little bit hanging over the edge here, which is understandable because you know what? It's fine. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to make a bigger mess. Okay. All right. So you're going to feed this underneath. Bring this to the other side. Make sure it fits the way you want it to. And then we can go ahead and attach that as well. Like so. Bend again. And then this will slide down over the top. Like so, and hold that closed. If you want to, you can do a photo mat and add another one of the 4x4 cut aparts, which is what I think I'm going to end up doing. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that one or if I'm going to use this guy. I kind of like this guy. I don't know. I have to decide. But all you'll do with that is just mat your cut apart and just put it right in the middle there. Okay. So there we go. At this point, you are pretty much done. So you will have seen the finished one on the walkthrough. I have to adjust my belly band slightly because it does seem to be pulling just a little bit. Now, if you get it on, you think you've got it all right, and it's still kind of tight, like mine's kind of trying to push this in, honestly, all I'll do is just split this down the middle. I'll do my mat, and I'll leave the little gap underneath that I'll put the mat, put the acetate in between it, and then put the cut apart on top to cover that up. Okay, it's an easy fix without having to redo your belly band. But at this point, everything else is in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to because somehow I'm still tight, even though I have literally measured and redone this thing like 4 times now. So it's okay. It is an easy enough fix, but okay, there we go. So there's, of course, your big pocket, big flap, which I will do the layout, and there will be, of course, there will be pictures of that. I've got to finish matting back here, put my cut aparts on there, finish matting these two. That's all good to go. Our little waterfall's good with our little door at the bottom. If you really wanted to get fancy, you could put a gusset in there and make this close over the bottom of it, but I don't want to do that. So yeah, that's about it. When you get through matting everything else, if you've got scraps and you want to mat all of your gussets, you can absolutely do that. But there you go. So as always, thank you for watching. The kit for this will be available in my shop, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.